Hey, welcome back, guys. It's been over a month now since I've made a video, and the weather here has not been cooperating. The range has not been good, so still no shooting videos, but I wanted to show a gun today that I have a lot of trigger time behind, and it may be an option if you're looking for something in the lever action big bore cartridge, something in 4570. So what I have is the Henry. This is kind of Henry's version of a Marlin guide gun. The idea behind the guide gun was essentially a lot of guides, especially in Alaska, bush pilots, things like that, they would have their 4570 lever actions, and a lot of them were cutting the barrels down to shorter lengths, 18 inches, instead of having these longer 20, 24-inch barrels, things like that. They were cutting them down so that they were easy to stow away in their plane as a bear defense, grizzly bear defense, brown bear defense. And so Marlin came out eventually with something they called the guide gun, and it's just a very compact lever action. As you can see here, this is something that is very well balanced. Doesn't have it's not very long. It has an 18-inch barrel, and this is Henry's version of that. They don't call it the guide gun or anything like that. In fact, their designation for it is the H010. That's the model number for it. However, this is lever action, 4570 government, and it's a very unique gun in a couple of ways, unique to Henry. Now, they have changed these up a little bit. So the biggest thing you're going to notice if you are into lever action is there is no side loading gate. And for me, this was always a detractor. I always thought, well, I don't know if I really want that. You know, it feels strange doing a tube loading with something as big as a 4570. However, you can load 5 rounds of 4570 in the tube here, and really, in all reality, if you're hunting with this, especially using it as some kind of bear defense gun or anything like that, there's a good chance that 5 rounds of 4570 is going to be more than adequate. It's really easy to load, so of course you always want to make sure you're unloaded when you do this. Drop the hammer down, and you just pull up on this big brass tube here. Now, personally, I just leave the tube in there, and I just drop my 5 rounds in there, and then you just close it up. Very simple, just like a 22, something most of us have probably loaded before. And that's really all there is to it. After that, you can rack your cycle your gun, put one in the chamber, and you're good to go. One thing that I do really like about lever actions in general is this gun does not have a safety. There's no cross-mounted safety, nothing like that. And I think that for a firearm that does not have a safety, a lever action is probably one of the safer firearms that does not have a safety, and I will explain that. So this is not a double action, even though lever actions have a hammer. It's not a double action. I can sit and try to pull this trigger all day long. It's not going to do anything. The only way that this will, the firing pin, the hammer drops, the firing pin will send that primer off is if it's cocked like this. So what you can do if you are hunting with this, or you just want to store this or carry it in a loaded position, is load your rounds in. You can cycle your action, and then of course you are now, the gun is cocked and ready to shoot. Now, some people will say that this isn't safe, this isn't something you should do. I disagree. It can be unsafe, but if you are deliberate with it, in my opinion, there's no problem with dropping the hammer on a live round if you do it carefully and thumb it down. So what I do is I will point this at a safe direction, somewhere at the ground, somewhere it's not going to ricochet, and then put your thumb on the hammer, pull your trigger, and then you can immediately let off the trigger and it will bring that hammer down very gently. You do have to be deliberate with it, but there's a reason that these lever guns come with these big, sturdy, very aggressively cut hammers, and that is for this very reason. So now this gun is loaded. There's one in the chamber. However, I can sit and pull this all day long. Nothing's going to happen. I then can pull back the hammer if I'm hunting and I'm about ready to take a shot. I can pull that hammer back, and of course this is unloaded, and then you get a very nice trigger pull. Very nice. I don't have a trigger gauge to put on there. I don't really put too much emphasis on weight or anything. I think feel is much more important. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably somewhere around that 4.5 to 5 pound mark. But there's no creep in it, nothing like that. It breaks very nicely. Yeah, I would say it's probably somewhere in that 4 pound mark, maybe a little more, but a very nice hunting trigger especially. It's very light and no grittiness, no mushiness, nothing like that. It's all very solid. Shooting this gun is a lot of fun. 45-70, if you've never shot one, is it's a good time. I will let me give you a quick demonstration. I'll set this down. So hopefully my camera focuses on this. So right here I have a 9mm. Most of us are going to be pretty familiar with that. And then right here I have a 45-70. This is a hand-loaded cartridge, which is going to be pretty typical for 45-70. So you can get pretty good factory loadings in 45-70. However, the first thing most people are going to notice is the cost. It is very expensive. There is a lot of material in this big case, big bullets, usually starting around the 300 grain mark, and they go up from there. You can get them over 500 grains. I think I've even seen some close to 600 grains, but that's probably pretty specialty. I would say the average is in the 350 to 405 grain. You can certainly get heavier, but that's very common. So very big, heavy bullet. And most common is a lot of people reload 45-70. So what you'll find is a lot of the factory ammunition, not all of it, but a lot of it is a little on the weak side. The first ammunition I bought for this was some Grizzly branded ammunition. And looking at the box, I thought, man, this stuff is pretty weak. It was only about 1,500 feet per second, and it was only about 1,500 foot-pounds of energy. And shooting it through this gun, which keep in mind does have a shorter barrel for a 45-70, boy, it was very tame. I would say it was like shooting a 308, maybe even a little less. It was very tame. This does have a very nice rubber recoil pad built into the back. However, I have shot some other hand loads, which are pretty stout. And then I shot a box of Winchester. It was old ammunition through a different Marlin lever action, but in 45-70, and that was stout. That was definitely more than 300 Win Mag, anything like that. It's a different kind of recoil. It's not really a sharp recoil. It's pretty heavy. You can tell there is a heavy projectile going down the barrel, and but it is fun to shoot. But the point I wanted to make with that is you can really have a range of 45-70. You can have something that is very light recoiling. You could shoot it all day, really, if you wanted to, or you can have something kind of intermediate, something that you're probably not going to put more than 5-10 rounds through, and but still fun to shoot. And then you have your really heavy barrel load type ammunition, which is going to be pretty hot. You'll be up over 2,000 feet per second, well over 2,000 feet per second, pushing some of those big heavy bullets. So more on the Henry itself. Comes with a set of, I believe these would be considered semi buckhorn sights. Hopefully the camera focuses on this. They are adjustable, pretty simple. I really enjoy the sights on this. This is drilled and tapped from the factory, so you can put optics mounts on here. You can put peep sights, things like that on there that they make in the aftermarket. However, with this brass bead front sight and these buckhorn sights, semi-buckhorn sights, whatever you want to call them, I have found this to be very accurate. Typically with a gun like this, I have found this to be very accurate out to about 100 yards. Anything past that, I think it's going to take more of a skilled shooter to get accurate hits, but I've been very accurate with this out to 100 yards. If I was going to hunt with this, I would say 100 yards and in is going to be my preferred range. However, if you have a 45-70 with a longer barrel, maybe a 24-inch barrel, 30-inch barrel, you can certainly reach out further. And you can with this gun. It just takes a little more skill and not really what this is designed for. So fit and finish on the Henry, like most of their rifles, is really top-notch. This is a very solid gun. There is no quality control issues with this. There's no fitment issues. You could really abuse this thing and it would handle it. The action, very smooth. Trigger is very nice, as I was talking about. The wood on here, very good. Very nice wood, very nice checkering. You can really get a solid purchase on this. I will probably do a comparison video, not comparison between the specific rifles, more of a manufacturer, but with the Rossi that I own, which I also do enjoy. But the Rossi is definitely not constructed as well as this, for sure. This is a very high quality lever action. So typically a little less than the Marlins on the market that I've seen and some of the others. However, don't think of because of that you're getting less of a rifle. You are really not. This is something that would be really good as a brush gun. You know, if you're hunting in the woods and you're making 100-yard and in shots, typically this would be a good hunting rifle for that. So anyway, that's what I wanted to make a video on this gun. I really enjoy this 45-70 lever action. Henry is they're a wonderful company. I've never heard anything bad to say about Henry. If you ever do have an issue, they take very good care of their customers. But in general, they just put out very quality firearms, and this is one of them. Thanks for watching.